sessions and getting a chance to talk to you. So for those that don't know me, my name is Jing. I'm the brand manager here at Hasbro. And of course, we have with us Chris. I'm gonna quickly
Chris.
introduce.
Yeah.
Everyone knows him.
Hey,
But please
everybody.
do a quick intro.
Yeah, I'm Chris. I'm the design manager over the fan business here at Star Wars and Hasbro. Here at
Awesome.
Hasbro on Star Wars. Long morning.
Chris is in like this weird conference room. If you can't tell, we had this whole issue this morning to try to get him. All right, so we're gonna get started because there's a lot of folks here and a lot of questions. So we'll try to get through as much as possible. So we'll get started with Daniel from Action Figure Insider.
Hi guys, good morning. Thanks for having me. Is there any thought or sort of focus to completing the original 24 Kenner figures in Star Wars Black at this time? More Cantina aliens, more droids, that sort of thing?
Well, we can't comment on anything we haven't announced, but we're always looking for fun ways and fun figures to do. So I think going back to those is going to be on our radar. And continue to be, but don't have anything to tell you right now.
Okay.
All right, Boba Fett Fan Club, Chelsey.
Hello, I'm Chelsey from Boba Fett Fan Club. So of course my first question has to be Boba Fett related or else they kill me. No, I'm just kidding. But I was wondering, are there any plans to create a new mold for that Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett in the Black series? Just was wondering, because I know we've used it a few more times, obviously for like Arena Boba Fett, that kind of thing, but we've really been loving all the new kind of like articulation and like pinless joints, that kind of thing. So just a question on that.
No plans to talk about, but it's the kind of thing like we're constantly looking to improve when we do new versions of figures. So at some point it'll happen, but don't have anything to tell you. So
cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chelsey. All right. I think David is not here yet from Indoor Express, so we'll skip him for now. Galactic Figures, Chris Boards.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. I have a question about the vintage collection. The Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, and the Andor TV series only saw a handful of vintage collection figures released so far. And with so many, TV shows coming out, it's difficult to keep up. And I was wondering if you will increase the amount of TVC figures being released moving forward to meet that demand.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, like it is super clear that the vintage community is very passionate about its figures and what they want, and they have all of these requests and dreams, and I absolutely adore that, and that's one of the best parts about the vintage collection community. We certainly hear you, and you hear the requests, we see the polls and all of that, and and I say this word a lot, and I don't want it to be a bad word, but it is a balance because we see so many of that requests. We see it from New Entertainment, we see it from Classic, we see it about the mains, we see it about Aliens. So it's definitely something that we constantly keep an eye on and mindful of and try to balance across all of the demands that come through. We wish we could do everything under the sun. I will say that vintage in general have increased the number of figures in the years past. And I hope you guys have noticed that. And it's not like the exclusives takes away from all of the mainline new tools that we bring into the line as well. So we're lucky enough that there is so much entertainment, like you mentioned, Chris, and that's something that we will always pray for and say never stop. And so we'll just continue to do our best, listening to community and balancing all of the requests that come in and trying to get you guys the figures that are most requested and most demanded.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. All right, Laughing Place, Mike.
Good morning. Hi. Now that it's 2023, we are actually in the year of Return of the Jedi's 40th anniversary. So I was wondering if you guys could touch a little bit on that celebration and recent announcements like the ATST with Chewbacca, and what is the overall strategy for this line of the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary toys?
The overall strategy is to get you guys a lot of amazing Return of the Jedi stuff. The things that we've revealed, like the bunker, we've pipeline revealed a lot of stuff, but it's a big year and there's a lot more of the year coming, stuff that we haven't told you guys about yet. So exciting news down the way a little bit. But there's big stuff. The bunker playset and speeder bike and ATST, like that stuff and characters to build out that scene. Like that's kind of for TVC anyway, that's kind of a centerpiece to really celebrate Return of the Jedi in a fun way. But yeah, like I said, lots more coming. So no fear, like you haven't seen the end of it. Jedi is a big part of Star Wars for a lot of us, and we're gonna do it justice. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're only in January of 23 of the year of the 40th. So excited for what's to come. Volker, Star Wars figurine.
Yeah, first and foremost, Happy New Year to everybody here. And the first question is, there's a high demand for the new vintage Stormtrooper VC 231. Is there still some shipping or plans to ship more of those?
Yeah, I think first off, like it's good to know when there is such high demand for something. We'll certainly keep an eye out. We'll continue to work with retailers to see if there's opportunity to ship more.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to go back up to the front, Daniel, Action Figure Insider. Sorry, you're on mute.
There's kind of a perception that I've started to see among collectors that they feel like there is a Boba Fett tax. Anytime a Boba Fett figure is announced, he's usually classified as a deluxe figure, and he usually has, an additional price tag of $5 to $9 over what the other figures are, depending on the scale. Can you kind of speak to the reasoning behind that kind of pricing on popular characters like that, or is it just because he has 8 deco?
Yeah, it is very much a real thing. Like he is a more expensive figure in general. The amount of parts and assembly labor to put him together is unique amongst Star Wars figures. I mean, all those different pieces, the chest armor, the shoulder pieces, even like the little rangefinder that moves, all that stuff, multiple piece backpacks, gauntlets, hoses on his arms, it all adds up, and it really is about that assembly labor and piece count that really drives his cost. So we're constantly trying to keep those prices in check, but he is one of those figures that he is always going to be more elaborate to do him justice and keep him in line detail wise and feature wise with other figures. So I know fans feel that pain, unique to Boba Fett, and thankfully he is a popular character that people are willing to do that, because if we tried to do him at the regular price, I don't think he would meet the expectation of what TVC has developed for fans, because we couldn't afford to do his level of detail at that lower price. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, speaking about how popular Boba Fett is, Chelsey, you want to take the next one?
Of course, you're really speaking my language now, Daniel. Awesome question there. So I saw that you're all doing a lot of new TVC, like kind of like repaints and stuff, especially for Target exclusives. And I'd love to know, is there a reason behind that? I'm like all for it, obviously, but like I'd love to know like if there are people, at Hasbro who are like, we love Boba Fett, we gotta keep getting these new like repaints and stuff. So I'm just curious about that.
I mean, yes, there are people Hasbro across all points of the team that has affinity for whatever character. I will say, and Chris, feel free to jump in. We do have we don't we know that there's a limit to just like re-releasing, but there are versions of a character that has never done before. And the comic versions of these Bobas, we thought as a team, and there are people on the team that are like, oh, that's super cool. And you've seen Emily on those behind the designer videos talk about it. Like there's so much more that she can talk to, but we couldn't go 2 hours long. So there's versions of these characters that's never been done in vintage before. We thought that they would be great additions to do them instead of like a repack of Boba. There's just these awesome versions and colors and decos of Boba that we've seen in the past for Star Wars lore. So that's what we wanted to get out there.
Yeah, well, and like Jing was saying, instead of just doing, oh, here's another copy of Boba Fett, just like you already have, like here's a fun new expression, a new way to look at him and to celebrate some of his history. So those couple comic books and that sort of stuff, like those were fun and kind of quintessential versions of him, we thought, and told a nice story about his history.
Yeah, I really love those. So very cool. Keep up the awesome Boba Fett work.
I love how you have your passion, you're sticking with it. There's no doubt about that. Cool. All right. Chris Boards, Galactic Figures.
Yeah, so my question again is about the vintage collection and creatures, because we're missing the creature assortment these days. Room for Mudhorns, Blurks, Dewbacks, or Tauntauns, for example. Or even smaller sized speeders, or smaller sized vehicles. Are you interested in bringing back smaller sized assortments to the 3¾ inch line, or is that something that's completely out of the picture at this time?
No, we would love to do more of that stuff. I mean, creatures, small vehicles, big vehicles, like all of it, it's all part of the world building of TVC. It's timing wise and other priorities and trying to deliver more new figures. I mean, I'm going to use the word again. It's a balancing act. And like we're constantly looking at that stuff. But I mean, in a year of Return of the Jedi, bringing out a speeder bike and doing a fun update to that's more accurate and delivers at a better price point for us than we might have otherwise been able to. Like that sort of stuff, like there will always be ways and time to bring that sort of thing in. It's just a matter of working out exactly when makes sense for those things. But
Okay.
yeah, creatures, vehicles, all of it, none of it's gone away.
That's good to hear.
Oh, all right. Mike, Laughing Place.
Okay, so going back to kind of the publishing world, I've noticed a lot of recent figure announcements from the Legends timeline. We've got Mara Jade, Bastilla Shan, Darth Malak coming out from the Black series. I'm very excited about that stuff. So I was wondering if you could talk about how fan enthusiasm for this type of release has kept Hasbro returning to the Legends timeline and Lucasfilm Publishing in general.
Yeah, I will say the fans obviously drive our business. Like I am not joking when, we scour the internet for your comments and your feedback and all of that. So when you are enthusiastic and you buy figures that you guys love and we put out, like that tells us loads, and that gives us so much information, so much data. So, keep having those enthusiasms because again, like there's so many Star Wars fans on the team working on it. They have their own affinities, but like we love it when fans love what we think are awesome figures to put out. And it definitely drives future demand and future conversations of putting those figures back out. Or, along those lines.
The best thing we can do is give you guys exactly what you want.
You want for it. Yeah. That is always the goal.
We are not trying to not do that. We're trying to do exactly that. So be vocal, be clear.
Vocal, buy what you want. Let us know, and that definitely is something that gives us a lot of info. So yeah, that enthusiasm goes a long way.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. All right, Volker, Star Wars figuring. You're on mute. You're on mute, Volker. Sorry. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. Actually, we're at a good point here. Fans actually want to see the 96 completed and all the original figures brought to TVC standard. So when can we expect to see more of those, or actually the rest of them?
There's no timeline.
Oh, come
We
on.
we do those as we can. Some of those figures are just obscure characters, and prioritizing a vintage classic trilogy obscure character over a new character from what's hot on TV that's a tough decision. So it's not a decision that will never get made. And we hope to eventually get to that stuff, but there's no hashtag Chris's promise here or anything, but we do want to do that. It's something we would love to do and get to the original 96 in TVC. When is its own beast, and like I said, we hope to just do it naturally and fill that void. TVC is not going away, so hopefully we have many years ahead of us to do that.
Thanks for now.
We'll throw a big party in a poker room by you. It'll be a big ordeal. Action Figure Insider.
All right. So I've talked to Chris about this before. I'm a huge fan of the retro Star Wars figures. We know that there's a Return of the Jedi wave coming. Is there a wave planned past that? And could we hear that announcement this calendar year? I'm not asking who's in it, just if there's still more coming.
There are announcements coming later this year. 23 will be
one word answers yes.
Yes. 2023 will make retro fans very happy.
All right. Chelsey, Boba Fett fan club.
Yeah, so I was wondering, obviously it's, once the figures are manufactured and like sent to the retailers, I feel like it's a little bit kind of like out of your hand, but I know I've seen some talk online about, those kind of card collectors being upset when, their figure comes in like just a bubble mailer and then, there's a little bit of card issues, that kind of thing. Is there anything you're doing to kind of work with those retail partners about like increasing those packaging standards? Again, like obviously the people in those warehouses are like super busy and like probably are not like, we have to get this action figure out mint to these people. But I was just wondering if you have any of those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, first off, like that's exactly the attitude I hope all people in the warehouses have. I will say, we work really, really closely with our retailers, our retail partners, and they understand, like they're working with Hasbro and with collectors, how important it is on their side as well. So there's always conversations and there's always strives to try to improve that. In fact, like very recently, we've even had a conversation with Walmart, and they said that they are actively looking at ways to implement improving their shipping in 2023 to get those, a better process and a better experience for the collectors, which they know how important having those mint packaging is as well. So, it's to say that the conversations are constantly ongoing, and that was a great update from a big key retailer from us that you guys are hearing about now. So it's something that, we'd love to see that come to fruition in this year, and we'll continue to have those impactful meetings across the board with all of our retailers.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. I think David joined us from Endor Express.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I found leaks in the window from last night that I was patching up, and I lost track of time. I apologize.
No worries. No, do you wanna?
Is this round 3 by now, or?
I think so.
Okay, so I'm gonna skip
4.
to like the end of the questions just in case somebody else already asked. The blurg. So many other companies have come up with a blurg. I'm just wondering if the vintage collection or the Black Series will have one soon. Maybe somebody already asked.
Well, we talked about how small creatures and vehicles are always going to be part of TVC. Nothing to announce, but it's the Blurg is something that is it's a fun new creature for us. There's no plans currently, but it's not off the radar. And will we get to it at some point? I don't know. I hope so. Because we love it and we want to do more of that sort of thing.
I'll argue that it's a fun old creature.
Well, true. Yeah, that goes back to the Ewok movies. So,
who's also relevant in new entertainment. All right, moving on. Chris Sports.
The Vintage Collection ATST comes with a loose Chewbacca figure. Could you confirm that your plans for the figure are similar to the Clatoonian Raider that also came with the ATST Raider, which was then single carded released later? Are those the plans for Chewie, preferably on the alternate card back for Endor?
There aren't plans currently for Chewie on an alternate card back version there. I love that thought. We all do, actually, of doing him on an alternate card back. Part of the reason for Chewie not being on a card in that set is to help with cost, mitigate cost of that set a little bit. But it's also that, I mean, that's an older Chewie, just generally speaking. I mean, it's been a while since Chewie saw kind of a big TVC update. And I think if at some point we do a new Chewbacca, I think that would be the impetus to put him on a new card back and address that. So for now, like that Chewie in there he's an awesome figure, and like him with his Jedi hair and all that stuff is very cool. But no plans currently to tell you guys about for him coming on a card.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, Laughing Place.
I have a question about Hasbro's relationship with Disney parks. I was wondering if you guys could talk about the decision-making process. You guys have put out some great exclusives through the parks and Shop Disney and stuff. So can you just talk about that relationship? I would love to see more of those 3-packs. I'd love to see more Galaxy's Edge figures like Vi Marati and Doc Ondar getting representation in the toys. But can you just talk about that relationship?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They are a partner of ours, just like a lot of the retailers, and we have our meetings with them, and we have our strategizing sessions, and we have our 1 to 2 year forward planning meetings as well. So for us, it's a close partnership, especially given that they are an arm of Lucasfilm and Disney. And what's great about that is just being able to talk about all of the different stuff that's coming down the pipeline that they also have visibility to. So it's similar in a lot of ways to a lot of our other retailers, but it's just even added benefit to having those robust conversations and meetings with them. I'm glad that you guys like the items that we've put out, and I think you said awesome. I don't know. I forget the word that you said, but I love that word, and I think for us it's continuing to make sure that we keep putting out those packs that they think are going to be hot in the parks, and we want to keep supporting that as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before with other things too. I mean, the parks and those characters, Vi and others, like they are every bit as big a part of Star Wars as characters from the movies and TV shows. So, I mean, video games, all that stuff, that's all part of this larger Star Wars universe. So making sure we can address those figures and those characters in a meaningful way at a meaningful time is important.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Parks and Shop Disney. They're both great partners. All right, Volker, Star Wars figurine.
Well, picking up where we left, hopefully I can phrase this correctly here. Chris just said that Vintage Collection will be around for a lot more years. The problem is that your customers are basically growing old, and maybe some leave before, natural reasons. So the problem is a lot of them are waiting for 40 years for some figures to arrive on shelves, like the Tonica sisters and others. And I understand that you have to make decisions based on what sells and what does not sell, or what you think sells or does not sell. But if you say that all the fans are asking for stuff and you're listening to fans asking for stuff, we're not seeing this right now. Really, we're seeing actually more repaints hitting the shelves than actually what fans are actually looking for.
Well, we've said this many times before. The redecos, the repaints, that sort of stuff is not taking away from the core offering of TBC. It's all additive. So there's a limited number of new tools we can do every year, and partial tools, and just general budget for TBC. So we try and be smart about how we address how many figures we can do and which figures to do to meet all the varying demands, instead of just focusing on classic trilogy stuff from 40 years ago. We look to kind of address everything from then all the way up to what you guys don't even know is coming yet. And that balance across that is it a fast process to get to figures from 40 years ago? No, it's never going to be, because there's so much exciting new stuff happening. But are we going to stop doing figures from 40 years ago or characters from 40 years ago? No, we're going to continue to do that. But it is a balance. It's a journey to try and figure out the right way and the right time to do all that stuff.
Let me just jump in there for a second, if you don't mind. Basically, it's the budget that's basically restraining what you guys are basically capable of doing. That's the way I'm seeing it. That's the way a lot of other folks are seeing it. If you would have a bigger budget, I'm pretty sure that you guys would be pushing out more figures that people are looking for, asking for, and all the talent that you basically assembled on the Star Wars team is capable of rocking basically the show and bringing us good stuff. But the budget is holding you back. That's the way I'm seeing it. That's the way people are understanding it.
Well, yeah, it's not just
yeah.
budget, right? Like, that's to be
Yeah.
clear. It's resources, it's capacity. There's so many that goes into it. And as we all know, like, resources are finite across the board for everything. Like, if we could do everything for every figure, for every scale, we certainly would, but there's only so many hours in a day, so many people on a team, and so much, like, even availability at factories and things along those lines. So it definitely is like more than just like the budget that we set aside. It absolutely is something that we like try to balance. And then if we see demand, we try to pivot as it makes sense, which, as we know, vintage collection has grown in the years past. So we see the opportunity there, and we definitely hear you in terms of like what figures people want, and we hear from other people that they want new entertainment. So we're always trying to like make everyone happy, but we're trying our best.
Okay, thank you.
Great. All right. We have 4 minutes. So if possible, I'm going to try to make this really quick. We'll try to do this really quick. Do we have, actually, I think we're probably not going to be able to get through all of these questions in 4 minutes. I will say,
Speed round.
Yeah, I don't know. If you have quick questions, let's try to get through some of those quick ones. Action Figure Insider, Daniel.
All right, quick question. There's a rich history in the Star Wars toy universe of designer toys like the Imperial Troop Transport and mini rigs and the original Cantina Aliens, where it was designs that came from designers, not necessarily from the movies. Is there any appetite for that sort of thing still?
As a designer, yes.
Please.
Would love to do more of that sort of stuff. I think we all would. So we'll try and figure out a way to do that. Your guys' job is to buy as much of it as you possibly can.
Chris, you got to sign every single one.
Hey, if you can track me down, I will sign anything you have.
Chelsey.
Will we ever see blasters in the FX Elite series, or are they kind of like the purview of Nerf?
Effectively the purview of Nerf. Doing realistic Black Series premium roleplay blasters, I think, is problematic for all the reasons you guys already know.
Yeah. But Nerf is a great place to do it.
Yeah. Good short question. Next.
Yeah. David, Endure Express.
Just quickly, how are the Black Series helmets and lightsabers doing, and is there a lot more coming?
Well, and yes. We love them. I think you guys have seen some fun new ones announced. There are more coming, more great announcements, so stay tuned. we are supporting that line fully.
All right, Chris Boards, Galactic Figures.
Okay, I was wondering if you could give us a shipping update on the estimates. I mean, we had figures on pre-order for like a year, then they shipped out, then we had them on pre-order for a few months, and they came, and then just a few weeks, and they came, and now
Yeah.
we already have some of the 40th anniversary product, which was originally, I think, announced for spring of next, or for this year. Are you caught up with shipping now? Are we seeing this going back to normalcy again?
Yeah, I mean, slowly, knock on wood, I think the world is adapting and adjusting to the past few years and getting to a new normal. So hopefully we'll see that stabilize and we'll be able to communicate a little bit more concretely and a little bit more, accurately for any future items. It's knock on wood, it's something that we certainly hope to strive for. As we'll keep adapting and adjusting, but as the world gets back to normal, hopefully you guys get to see more direct timelines and get that communicated out to you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you guys. These are perfect, perfect questions. Mike, Laughing Place.
Okay, I'm very curious, kind of along the same line as David's questions. What has the reaction been and response been to the holiday repaints of the Black Series figures, like the Halloween and Christmas figures? How have those been doing?
Yeah.
They've been doing great, and
Good. Yeah.
it's fun. I think that they're tapping into a new group of fans and more casual fans in a way. I think our core fans are still loving them. Some go, oh, that's not a Stormtrooper. But I think the large proportion of fans and casual fans are really loving those things, and it's a fun design exercise for the team, and just tickles all the fun buttons, I think.
Yeah. They get to
I have a-
flex their creative.
I have a
Awesome. Go ahead.
request, a Christmas Wampa.
right.
Just throwing it out there. But continue.
Halloween
Sorry.
Stormtrooper, one of my favorite figures ever. Okay.
Yeah, especially the expansion to Halloween, I think it's so fun. Eric on our team does a great job with it. Like he just comes up with like, I'd love to see him with a scarf, and like he would be great with ears. That one looks like a whatever, and it's great. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, it's a great tap into those more casual fans as well, and those that just want a fun stocking stuffer. All right, Volker.
What are the chances? What are the chances of seeing a Mandalorian Naboo fighter?
I don't know. We don't have anything to announce, but
I kind of knew the answer.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking.
Yeah,
because we know what you're asking for.
Yeah, we've said it before. Vehicles are a big part of TVC, so we'll see what comes down the pipe.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for joining. Quick plug at the very end for those that are also Indiana Jones fans. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow's live stream at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Chris will be there along with Patrick and Eric, who work on Indiana Jones. And there's so many amazing things that I can't wait for you guys to see. So hopefully you can join that. And as always, thank you for joining us here. I know it definitely takes time out of your day or night or whatever. So we always appreciate hearing from you and your fan base as well. So appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll chat soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Been
Thanks.
great.
Bye-bye.